Here we go then, we're back for more F1 My Team. This is the Las Vegas Grand Prix and we are suiting up in the red special 110th anniversary livery of Maserati. Now for this one, the championship could be decided. We have our first match point, our first championship point. Now guys, to see how we got here, the previous episode, Brazil, with the sprint race, link in the top right. Spoiler warning ahead, you have been warned. Now, we begin with some good news. We finally have our simulator Spec 3, so hopefully Ollie Bearman should gain a bit of pace, generally speaking. We're going to pair that up also with the maximum amount of activities possible to hopefully improve his performance heading into this weekend, and that should hopefully go a long way to really improve things moving forward. Now we've also received a valve timing upgrade from Ferrari, so again a slight improvement to our car heading into this particular event. But then I had a bit of a look, and basically in a nutshell, we can't afford any upgrades, and that's a bit of an issue because we can't really make the car any quicker. So we're going to have to wait until after this round to try and improve the car some more. In the meantime, we received the reshaped combustion chamber, which is also going to help the engine performance moving forward, but that is going to be the last of the performance upgrades for the car this weekend. So we skip ahead on the timeline, get all of our activities done, also hitting all of our goals, and then we get hit with a durability department event. Now for this one, it's actually quite interesting. We had to either prioritize aero or chassis, and both of these have, of course, had a knock-on effect. If we went for the aero focus, it would affect morale on the chassis but give us more resource points, and the same resource points the other way but basically affecting the morale of the aero department. So I'm choosing wisely here, but we don't actually have any more upgrades available on the chassis. We're kind of locked at the moment, so I'm happy to basically take a hit on the chassis morale if it means we can improve the aero department and also get some extra R&D points. So that's what I chose and that's what I went for. And yeah, with that out of the way, we can now delve into the weekend. Now you can see the forecast is dry. In terms of upgrades, we've now dropped to third from bottom. We won the last episode in Brazil. RB heading to this one as the quickest team, followed by Aston Martin, Mercedes, and Renault are up to fourth. Also Red Bull up to fifth, so they're taking big steps forward. Ferrari now dropped to sixth, and that's not a good sign for Charles Leclerc, who is our nearest rival in the championship. Now, here is the situation heading into this weekend. We have Vegas, we have Qatar, we have Abu Dhabi. Now, usually, under regular conditions, there's 26 points up for grabs, race win plus fastest lap. You times that by 3, and that is going to be, what's available. But of course, we have a sprint potentially that could change things in Qatar. So there's an extra 8 points that you have to factor in. So essentially, it's going to be pretty close, but it is possible we can win the title here if we win the race. If we win the race and Leclerc gets second, mathematically, we win it on countback due to race wins, because the gap will then be large enough to basically be impossible for Leclerc to recover it in the next 2 rounds. But even still, we have to win. And Vegas hasn't been a happy hunting ground for me, so we're going to see how that goes. Anyway, we jump into practice into our usual race runs in the beautiful livery, which I love, in the night skies.
Program complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can take you through the numbers.
And we get things done pretty swiftly. Fuel burn was the big surprise here. Car super efficient down the massive straights here at Vegas, and tyre wear also looking very good. You can see the lap time is also very consistent on the medium, so the car working as planned. So hopefully we'll carry that data over into the race, and we'll look to hopefully, try and convert that into race pace in race trim. Now, in terms of the final practice results, Ollie Bearman finishes in the top 10, of course, with the improved car, with the upgrades, also the personnel department and activities. So that's a good sign. We finish in the bottom part of the table, and yeah, generally speaking, we're not going to read into that too much, but you can see now we do bring our R&D points total to over 3,500 points. Also, by the way, just look how good those race suits look. Oh my god. Anyway, with that done out the way, we also do pick up our usual discounts for other upgrades, and hopefully we can do a few of those in the next one once we convert this weekend. So yeah, job done for us in practice. Good weekend so far. We're now going to jump into qualifying and see what the true pace of the car is, and hopefully, fingers crossed, stick it on pole. If not, get close. Either way, it's going to be tough. So let's get into it. Vegas qualifying.
The walls are close, the speeds are high, and the location is borderline unbelievable. It is time for qualifying in Las Vegas.
Now, here we go, on track, on the soft tyres, which of course match the livery to perfection, and we've got underway. Now, I will say one thing, you might see some dodgy barriers. I don't know why. I think the issue may have been because we are running Bridgestone as a tyre sponsor, and that is also affecting the sponsors of the track because Pirelli has been replaced with Bridgestone as a sponsor. There was an update for Vegas later on in the game cycle, not too long ago, where they did quite a few visual updates, and I feel like the Bridgestone sponsor hasn't actually been updated for this track, so the sponsor boards are a little bit out of whack or darkened or a bit weird. So if you do see that, apologies, but not much I can do. I did try to fix it, but it's out of my hands. So anyway, we finished our first lap in qualifying 28.0, got a slight tow from the McLaren, but we quickly deviate to not give the McLaren any more slipstream onto his lap. So now, after a quick cool down lap, we're going to go for a second push. We're currently P12, so work to be done. I believe the quickest time so far is a low 27. So straight away into turn 1, just clip the inside curb, get that rotation as we then open up turn 2, which should be flat. You can see here we have a bit of a slide and we have to correct a little bit, and we basically give up our advantage as we now head towards turn number 3. Brake at the 100-meter board. 4th gear, important to cut this curb to really make the track as fast as possible. Sonoda there, 27.1 as we're a 10th up in sector 1 on our own time. Into the chicane, bit wide, you want to try and cut that first curb the way we cut the second one. And then important to this one, just get the exit right and nail the power, which we do. And you can see we gain nearly a 10th just on the exit alone. Using battery as we now prepare this left-hand kind of 90-degree corner. 4th gear, I'd say, is the way to go, as we look to just clip the curb for a rotation and crucially carry that momentum into our exit. We now dump a decent bit of battery, but we are saving the majority for the run to the line because that is not a DRS zone and that can make a big difference. Second sector split coming up as we cross the DRS line, and you can now prepare the braking zone into this heavy braking chicane. 100-meter board down to 4th gear. We clip the wall on the way in and we hit the curb at the wrong angle, so the car is slightly unsettled. We still gain time as we now dump the remaining battery all the way to the start finish. Bare left, there's a bump on the racing line and you can gain some lap time, and over the line we go, 27.6, half a second off Sonoda, and we go P8, which it's not too bad, but you can see the gap is pretty significant. It does seem Sonoda has a bit of time up his sleeve, and the big takeaway here really is that we're in the mix with our rivals. So Hamilton P9, Leclerc P10, Russell P5. We're not a million miles away. We're in the thick of it, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, Behrman down in 18th, not really showing that pace yet in practice. Either way, things aren't looking too shabby. Alonso 3rd is the one to look out for, with Stroll 2nd. It seems to confirm Aston do seem to be very quick with their latest upgrade package. So we'll see how the final runs go. Anyway, we're going to get into it. Fresh set of tyres, minimum fuel, 1 single lap flyer to try and hopefully improve on our P9 position, as we did get relegated by Hulkenberg. So here we go, lap underway. I'm not going to lie, that P4 tastes a bit like a P1. That was not expected. We deliver an absolutely massive lap at the end of qualifying to get 4th place. The top 3 just a bit too quick, and literally a fly's eyelash covers the 3. 17 milliseconds between Tsunoda, Alonso, Stroll in a 1:27 lap time is absolutely bonkers. You can see though, crucially, we outqualify Russell in P8, Hamilton in P10, Leclerc in P11, and we are looking very well placed and poised in the race to secure the championship. I believe if Leclerc scores no points at all, we would win the championship as well. So I think that's a possibility, if I'm not mistaken, on the mathematical equation. So yeah, either way, we'll see what happens in the race. I expect Leclerc to move forward, but can we secure the win? If we win the race, it doesn't matter what Leclerc does. We are world champions. So P4 on the grid, 3 cars ahead. We know the target, so we're going to try and achieve it. Either way, 11-7 leading the rivalry versus Hamilton. Things are looking up. Can we convert? This is it. It's time for Vegas. Championship point. Championship on the line.
We're on the glitz and the glamour of the famous strip. It is time for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. The heart of Las Vegas has been replaced with sold-out grandstands spanning 17 corners, 3 straights, 2 DRS zones. It all adds up to a total of 3.8 miles. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and it's Fernando Alonso alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Martinez, Gasly, Ocon, Albon, Russell, Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Stroll, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Sargent, Bottas, Joe, Behrman, Hauger, and Teo Pourchaire. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. We welcome to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. I'm Alex Jakes. We're both looking forward to a really intriguing race today. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Right, here we go. Critical race. We can potentially win the championship today. If we outscore Leclerc by 8 points, we win the World Drivers' Championship back-to-back yet again. Leclerc starts P10. He's at a +1, and so has everybody else, including myself, as there has been a grid penalty, I believe, for an Aston Martin. So we start P3. If the race were to finish in these positions, Leclerc P10, me P3, that would be championship number 2. So, yeah, that's the objective. We're going to keep it simple. Strategy, medium hard. We're just going to stick to the plan. Fuel, the typical traditional 0.8. Should do the job. I don't think there's going to be any dramas. Dry race, no rain forecast. 25 laps away from glory. Let's get to it and let's secure the championship. Right, here we go. This is going to be a strange start because the AI do seem to position themselves a bit weird around this particular track. But anyway, we're going to get the car ready. I'm just kind of leaning on the brakes to make sure we get some nice tyre temp or maintain as much as possible for the start. Luckily, we're going to line up straight. Some of the AI behind are going to line up a bit of an angle, but luckily, our car's the line. That's going to be huge. And we've got the better line for turn 1. So let's go racing. Right, here we go. Will this be the race? Lights on at Vegas. Underway. We get the jump on Alonso somewhat, but the second phase lets me down. And we're now conceding to one of the Renaults here. Pierre Gasly having a look. I'm going to try and fight this into turn 2. on the inside. And we're now going to get into a drag race down towards turn 4. Gasly defends. I'm going to try and challenge here. Can't see the braking point. We get squeezed all the way to the inside. And we just can't make it work. Gasly with a better run momentum on the outside line through that sequence. So we lose a place off the start. Not all doom and gloom. Russell P6 there in the Mercedes. Keen to see what the back straight looks like with the straight line speed test. Alonso obviously pressuring Tsunoda. Tsunoda's been super quick all weekend. Let's see, first run through the left kink. Traction, good enough. Let's see what everybody's straight line speed looks like. Ocon is falling back. We're gaining on Gasly here. He's having a bit of a flash, a bit of a D-rate down the straight. We've got momentum. We might be able to challenge this one. Not quite. Gasly does defend it well. Look at the exit. Oh my god, the traction from the AI is insane. Anyway, lap 1 over. We lose the place, but not all doom and gloom.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Right then, so that's going to now be another spanner in the works. We'll see how DRS begins to affect things around here today. Alonso going through on Tsunoda. Ocon has a look. Down my inside. We're going to just do the exact same carbon copy as last lap on Gasly, although Ocon gets the traction. The AI's acceleration is just mental. It's so insane how they can just drive off a corner. Alonso, Tsunoda side by side here. I'm more focused on trying to keep my charge up for the back straight because we might be able to get multiple cars. Whichever one does not have DRS here, it's going to be in a bit of a predicament and could be P5 come the end of this straight if they're not careful. Right, oof, bit hit the wall there. That wasn't ideal, just didn't quite clear the barrier. Right, we're going to let the horses loose. Tsunoda's the one that leads. There's a break in the train behind. Here comes the DRS. This is it. I want the outside line. 3 wide ahead. Super late braking from Esteban Ocon there. Good job, to be fair. Good defensive driving, but we're now going to try and hit him with a sneak attack. Tsunoda's out of battery. We're going to get 1. We're going to get 2. Thought about the dive on Alonso, but we'll hang back for now. That's P3. Good double overtake to get back to our starting spot, but it's Gasly who leads in the Renault.
No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
Of course, Alonso, the former Renault man, having a look in the Aston Martin. These two side by side. The AI battling is going to be our golden ticket. It's a bit like Monza around this particular track. If you are smart with your timing and your overtakes, you can completely just ruin the AI and pull away and do your own race. So that's what we're going to be looking out for today. The AI will basically implode amongst themselves, so we don't have to really play or fall into their games too much. Just try and keep our powder dry. Car clean. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding. Already? Are you for real? I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever had a reliability failure as early as that. And suddenly, what was a match point, a championship point, has just gone begging. Well, now my concern is how the race is going to be simulated. Will Leclerc just fly up to P2 or something? I think it's going to be Hamilton, Russell, Alonso, Leclerc. They're all going to be up there. The question is, will Gasly still be there? Will Ocon still be there? Will Tsunoda still be there? Either way, that I did not expect. I really thought we weren't going to have another reliability gremlin for the rest of the season. So the good news is we'll be turning the failures off for the next race at Qatar. So that could be a game changer for the sprint and the main race. But for now, it's GG's. game over.
Yuki Tsunoda has his day of days and takes the checkered flag.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
Well, that's actually a genuine surprise. Tsunoda, the 6-foot-tall Yuki Tsunoda, has won the race. Gasly got second, and on track, Esteban Ocon got third, but then got demoted with a 10-second time pen. So Alonso gets the podium. If not, it would have been both Renaults on the rostrum, which confirms their upgrades. Hulkenberg P4, Russell P5. So in terms of championship rivals, Alonso third, Russell fifth, and then Hamilton P9. Leclerc did not score points in P12. So a massive golden opportunity goes begging for Charles Leclerc, and we yet again get away with a 0. As you can see, Behrman down in 18th as well. Very tight field, to be fair. Not a lot of field spread, but that does mean if we go to the standings, we lead by 53 points heading into Qatar over Leclerc. The gap has not changed. Alonso, Russell, Hamilton have closed in, but it doesn't really change anything for us. We go to Qatar, and simply put, we now have 2 full races and a sprint available up for grabs, which means 26 possible points in Abu Dhabi, 26 possible points in the Qatar race, plus 8 from the sprint. That is a total of 60. So the permutations are more or less the same heading into Qatar. The difference is now the pressure is on Leclerc to outscore us, because simply put, if this is the gap after the sprint in Qatar, we will win the title in the sprint race. Simple as that. So let's game on. In the constructors, I think that's pretty much over for us now. Aston Martin are equal on points with us. I think we're going to be finishing 5th, unfortunately. I just don't think there's anything we can do. Mercedes will win the constructors, I'm pretty certain. And McLaren will get 3rd. So yeah. Anyway, that out of the way, let's go to the post-race fallout and also cover upgrades for Qatar. Now then, as you can see, a big fat 0. So Hamilton gets a pretty strong recovery episode in and now takes the lead in the rivalry. Elsewhere, of course, acclaim-wise, we're going to take a bit of a hit. I don't think Ollie's going to gain too much, so nothing much is going to really change. The acclaim is fairly stagnant at this point. It's an irrelevant feature, which I hope is changed for the new game. But we then go to the payouts, and not a single dollar. When we're trying to get that personnel upgrade for Ollie, that's a bit of a hit. But the good news, like I mentioned before, failures will be off from the next round. So yeah. Now, back in the office, we have some notifications and a few things to get through. First off, we are going to do our activities for the next round and get them out of the way. So some G-Force training for Ollie and some driver promotion filming to basically not hinder the team. We get an extra 320 R&D points, so we now have over 4,000, which is huge if you consider the department event at the start of the episode, which gave us 600 extra points. So if we jump over to those R&D tabs, we do have a few options available. Now, the DRS activation mechanism has arrived. The issue is we don't really have much available barring the front wing end plates. On the rear end, we do have the rear wing main plane, so I'm going to go ahead and get that on the car, and for it to have an effect, we need to rush it, and even then, that's not going to arrive. So we might be in a situation here where we may not be able to actually bring anything for the rest of the season. I'm going to have a quick browse. Yeah, I don't really want to do a brake upgrade because it kind of breaks the handling of the car. Reshaped combustion chamber. Can we squeeze anything else on? ERS upgrade. No, also will not make it in time. Fuel efficiency will not. So that is going to be it. We have 4,000 R&D points and we cannot spend them. Reliability is kind of pointless. So that is going to be all she wrote. Now the other issue is the personnel department. I needed 6.5 mil to have any chance of getting, you know, a bit of an improvement elsewhere for Ollie in the fitness center and analysis suite. Even 5.5, we're just short. So I do not think we're going to be able to get these either. So I don't actually think much is going to change in what's left of this season. So it's going to come down to us just making sure we get it over the line in the sprint in Qatar and then our focus will turn entirely to try and hopefully aid our Constructors' Championship position. Now then, for this one, we did lose the MG UK, so we are going to go ahead, and to be fair, there's 2 rounds to go. We might as well lock it in, so we're going to go and basically throw on every single one of the fresh components that we have left for Qatar. And not just that, we're going to pair that up with turning, of course, failures off to try and break the recurring faults. So we're going to do that, and hopefully that should resolve issues. I want to hear some feedback in the comments, guys. If you're still watching, do we turn that off only for the sprint or for the entire Qatar weekend? We could also just do that for the sprint, and hopefully that should fix things for the main race in Qatar. So let me know what you think. I'll leave it open-ended for you guys to comment. Anyway, with that out of the way, we can go ahead and skip to Qatar. So let's skip ahead on the timeline and get this done. Well, there we go, guys. We are at Qatar, and this is going to be the critical race weekend. We can't do no more performance upgrades in terms of those that are going to arrive in time. We can't do any more facility upgrades. So this is it. We can win the title in the sprint. The failures are off, so it's in our hands. Get the car over the line ahead of Leclerc, and we will clinch the championship. Who knows? Maybe the Mercedes, maybe Alonso throw a spanner in the works. We finish 8th in the sprint and they win or something, and they keep it alive in the main race. But yeah, for now, that's going to be what you wrote, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Short episode, weird episode. We haven't had one of these in a long time, especially this short. This is a record 3-lap DNF. But anyway, like, subscribe. As always, a massive shout out to my channel members for supporting the content, guys. Check out the 2 videos on your screen, and I'll see you in the next one in Qatar, where we'll try to hopefully win the title. Take care. Ciao.